Hi, everyone. Good morning. And thank you, Victoria and Beth and the whole PPT team for pulling together this wonderful summit over the past 4 months. It's been great, and I am really looking forward to the day that we can see each other in person again. And I'm so glad that Vic and Beth suggested this particular segment, because a conversation about giving and generosity and its role and what our future is going to look like just wouldn't be a complete conversation without the voices we're about to hear from. Nearly half the world is under 25, and the ways that those generations choose to show up as citizens of their communities and the world really matters, maybe more than anything else. Young people are facing obviously massive challenges that have been handed down to them, and they're staring down uncertainty and volatility with such determination. They're hyper-connected, they're serious about making their voices heard with the tools and the platforms they have, individually, but importantly as collectives. And they're getting to work with urgency and with generosity, and with radical generosity, in the sense that they intend to attack problems at their roots. They're already transforming institutions and movements and models, including in the giving ecosystem. And it's our job to support them and to learn from them, and certainly not to expect them to assimilate to our ways of doing things, as Vic said. So a few years ago, a 12-year-old girl DM'd us on Instagram, and she asked if she could start Giving Tuesday Kids. And of course we said, you don't need our permission, right? Giving Tuesday is anyone's to adapt and co-own. But we began to work in partnership with her because we were inspired. And as that community grew, we realized that the generosity of young people is powerful and informed and impactful in ways that we hadn't been paying enough attention to. So Giving Tuesday Kids became GivingTuesdaySpark to encompass a broader spectrum of young people. And it is a youth-led, growing and broadly distributed, but highly interconnected community of leaders ages 6 to 21 who do good for the world around the causes that matter to them and in the ways that matter to them. And they are there to learn from one another and to support each other. And they approach their work with a true abundance mindset. So I'm so happy to be here with 3 of our Sparks, our Spark leaders, including the one who DM'd us on Instagram a couple years ago. And I'm going to let you guys speak for yourself. I don't want to do a long intro of all of you. I want to just start off by hearing from each of you who you are and what you do and what inspired you to do it. And then we'll get into some other questions. Let's start with you, Chloe.
Well, yes. Hi, my name is Chloe Thompson. I'm 14 years old, and I have my own nonprofit organization called Chloe Cares, where I make tote-like bags and I fill them with very necessity items, and I pass them out to women experiencing homelessness, as well as I teach kids leadership workshops and business skills. And once a year, I take trips to Ghana where I install water pumps and bathroom facilities there. And how I got inspired to start Chloe Cares was because I would pass the same homeless woman on my way to school, and I would just ask my mom why or how she was out there, and she would tell me some reasons, and I would just feel really bad for her. And at the time, my grandma, she was teaching me how to make tote-like bags and shoulder bags, and so I told her I wanted to do something to help her. And so we started going back and forth on different ideas, and we came up with the idea of making bags and filling them with items that we all use on a daily basis, like toothbrushes, toothpaste, and soap. And so we made about 25 bags and then started passing them out, and I fell in love with it since then.
Amazing. Thank you, Chloe. How about you, Shreya?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Shreya. I'm an 18-year-old freshman at Georgetown University majoring in global health. And I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Nest for Us, a nonprofit that provides volunteer and leadership opportunities to make the world better through kindness. And so I'd really like to thank the Gates Foundation and Giving Tuesday for providing me and all these other incredible youth with this amazing opportunity to be part of this global summit. And I'm truly honored to be here. The reason I got inspired to form Nest is since I was young, giving back to the community was something I did often with my family. I mean, my mom would bring me along to volunteer at school and community events, even back in elementary school. And so that was where I was first introduced to the world of community service. For me, finding my voice came hand in hand with what I observed in my community. And I really feel like it's our responsibility as humans to give back to the people who need it most. After all, there are millions who don't have access to basic necessities or support systems. And this is proof that the world needs people to spark change and to build a better future. So I thought, why couldn't that be me? So that's the reason why I formed Nest for Us as a philanthropic platform built on kindness, generosity, and social good. And so, real short about Nest for Us, I spread awareness, advance dialogue, and take action in local, national, and global communities. And our overall vision is to empower people of all ages and backgrounds to create a more compassionate, inclusive world by instilling a passion for service through random acts of kindness. And as a Giving Tuesday Spark chapter leader, I empower you to actively shape their future and thrive in an ever-changing world by organizing a multitude of community service opportunities that allow individuals to give back passionately and take on leadership roles from a young age. And I truly believe that the key to building a better future is believing in youth to make a meaningful difference because they truly have the power to change the world.
Indeed. Rafa?
Hello, everybody. I'm Rafa Lorenzana. I'm 15 years old and I'm from the Philippines. And I'm also part of GivingTuesdaySpark. I really love sports, and my organization is BC Basketball, which means building character through basketball. And this is where we host basketball camps for underprivileged kids who may not have access to sports. And I was really inspired by Manny Pacquiao, who is a Filipino boxer. And he grew up on the streets and he was hungry every day, and on a good day he would have dinner. But now Manny Pacquiao is an 8th division world champion in boxing, and he's also a senator in the Philippines, which just really blows my mind. And another athlete who inspired me was Jimmy Butler, and at a very young age he was abandoned by his mom when he was just 13, and he was taken in by his friend, and he used basketball as a way to escape, and it got him a scholarship in college, and then he became an NBA star. And this just really got me thinking about all those kids out there on the street who are limited to sports and as well as an education just because they have limited resources. And this also brings me to a statistic that I read the other day where 6 out of 10 children in the Philippines lack access to a basic education. And this is when I knew that I needed to use all the resources at my disposal and my passion for basketball so I could maybe make a difference in these kids' lives or have a positive change in the communities. So BC Basketball is really an organization I started with the vision of helping those underprivileged children with a love for basketball pursue their interests without having to worry about any of the expenses or anything affiliated with the sport. But most importantly, I believe, is that I want them to learn how to use the sport to improve both their physical and also their mental well-being. And by teaching them values just like resilience and teamwork and perseverance, and those personally have helped me so much as a person in my life. And I want to share these values to these underprivileged children so that they can believe in themselves and they will feel in a way that they can progress beyond their current situation and that they are not stuck where they are and they have hope.
Amazing. And we have to mention, Rafa, that your mother is the Giving Tuesday Philippines leader. So Rafa and his mom are a giving super duo. And one thing I've noticed about the work that you guys do that you didn't mention, but I do think bears mentioning, is that you've all pivoted during the pandemic and the protest for racial justice to address those issues, even if it wasn't what you were doing before. And you've also spoken really openly about the effect that all of this is having on you and your communities of young people, and speaking really honestly and straightforwardly about mental health and being supportive of each other, which is really lovely. I told you guys about, the audience that's watching you today and who is attending this summit. And, it consists of people who do lots of different kinds of work, but who mostly work in the giving economy, the giving system, to support and scale generosity and social good broadly. And we're also a community of people that is doing a lot of self-reflection right now. I mean, we know that there are lots of problems and challenges to the ways that we have worked, and we are we genuinely want to address them. And we know that we're in a moment of change and challenge, and everything is shifting. Do you have any advice for us? And I would ask you to go first, Rafa.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Asha. There's a quote that I think really goes well with this question, and it's by Mother Teresa. She said, "If you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one." And this pandemic, especially here in the Philippines, it's affected so many lives, and even the poverty rate has increased to 19.8% in 2021. And just the thought of a family going to bed hungry without anything to eat, it left me sleepless. So my family and I, as well as so many other Filipinos, used our time and our resources to make a small difference in their world. And by paying it forward and creating like a sort of kindness boomerang. And there are so many small but very meaningful acts that were enacted for our frontliners here. Like, for example, I would leave hot meals out for the garbage collector at night, and my neighbors started what's called a community pantry, and they set up tables in very poor areas, and they left food and resources that anybody could use, and masks were also handed out. And something I really found cool was the celebrities who had virtual online concerts, and through that they raised money to help fund and help the hospitals. But what surprised me the most out of this was even those in need paid it forward and they shared whatever little that they had. And it brings me to another story where my barber, who actually came over one day to cut my hair, he told me that he ran through his savings just a few months into the pandemic. So I gave him a box of noodles, and they had 40 packets in them. And when he got home, I saw on social media that he actually shared those 40 packets of noodles with the people in his community who shared the same struggle. And it really changed the way that I personally looked at generosity. It's no longer about the haves and the haves not about care. It's about caring for each other. And that care for each other, it comes in all forms. And it also intertwines with Giving Tuesday's message that we can give whenever and however we can. It doesn't have to be monetary, because giving, it comes in many forms, and what is important is that it's in our everyday lives. So my advice really would be, to be a good example to us in the youth and just inspire us to be generous every day.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the idea of generosity as not hierarchical or transactional, but as a recognition of our shared humanity. We're all in this boat together, right? Shreya, how about you?
Yeah, so over the years, I've experienced several forms of discrimination because of my race, my ethnicity, my age, as many people doubted the ability of youth like me to make a true difference. After all, I was only 13 when I formed Nest for Us. I mean, how could I possibly make a positive impact? But being the founder of a teen-led nonprofit, I show people that you don't need to be an adult, have special skills, or even be a superhero to spark positive change. As a young woman of color, I strive to serve as a role model and emphasize the power of youth voices to bring about positive change. And I strongly believe that having an equal opportunity to make a difference in causes you're passionate about is the first step towards creating lasting peace. Bringing together various groups of people allows for diverse perspectives, and that sparks more equitable solutions for the greater good. And that ultimately starts with integrating youth into the decision-making in the nonprofit sector. Gen Z should also listen to the voices of both past and future generations in order to devise diverse and innovative solutions for current societal issues. And in this very polarized world, people tend to have very strong beliefs about particular issues or specific people, myself included. And this causes narrow-mindedness, which really just blocks the way for innovation and diversity when it comes to finding solutions or middle ground. So I would say the best way to approach difficult conversations would be simply listen to what the other side or other person has to say, and don't immediately retaliate against their views. This not only wastes both people's time, but also doesn't get you any closer to finding a solution. Instead, be open-minded and willing to hear the other side of the story. Who knows? Maybe you'll even learn something new from that person. The creative minds and voices of youth are incredibly powerful tools, making it more pertinent for all of us to harness and unleash these tools in order to drive the fight for equality and justice worldwide. There will always be problems in the world, but by working together as one human family to fix these issues rather than fight with each other with our own brothers and sisters, we can move towards a better, kinder future.
So I hear a real challenge for our sector there, Shreya, in not just supporting you and learning from you and all that good stuff, but actually bringing you into the decision-making process about important issues. And that's, I think, something that we really haven't done a lot yet, and really need to think about as a community. You, Chloe.
And I agree with Shreya so much. I feel as if I had the same problem in the beginning of my process of starting Chloe Cares. It was all about the fact that I was too young to do something, or no one believed that I actually cared about this. But it's something that I was really passionate about and I really cared about, and something that I wanted to continue doing, and I just needed that support. So advice I would give is supporting your younger peers, no matter how old they are. I feel like everyone's ideas are valid and are important, but really hear them out on of what they want to do. Like my parents, I'm so glad that they heard me out on the idea that I wanted to do, because this was something that I was excited for, I was passionate about, and something I really wanted to do. And so, like I said, hearing them out and hearing youth out is the most important thing to do, because we have plenty of ideas, and sometimes our ideas can become something very great. And I feel like all of us here are really showcasing that. But yeah, I feel as if it's just hearing out youth is the most important thing, though.
All right. Thank you, guys. And what about inclusivity and accessibility? How can we make giving and the agency that it brings with it available to the broadest possible spectrum of young people around the world? Rafa, what do you think? You're in the Philippines.
Yeah, I think there's so many small and marginalized communities here that maybe don't have a voice. So I think maybe bigger institutes or companies could sort of broadcast their voice in a way so that they can also be heard, and their problems can also be solved. Yeah.
How do you reach those communities with the work that you do?
Oh, my mom is involved in a lot of communities, so she partners with an organization, and they actually find the kids from different islands. And one island I'm working with is in Siargao, and also there's another community that's very near me, and we work hand in hand and have many camps with them.
Shreya, how about you? Any thoughts?
Yeah, there's actually one thing I wanted to address that Chloe was talking about how actually it applies for all of us here, how our parents have supported us. And I think that's just one step to look at in terms of how adults can support. It really starts from home, right? The influence that as parents, talking to all the parents watching this, that you can have on your kids, being that role model is so important, because when your kids see you being great role models in the community and getting them involved in generosity and volunteering early on, that really inspires youth to want to do it throughout their lives. It makes them, because it's something that, like, when you learn, whatever you learn when you're younger tends to stick with you for the rest of your life, right? So starting people young and teaching that inclusivity aspect too, right? Making sure that people are respecting other people regardless of if they're different. I mean, we're all unique. That's the main thing, is teaching that all humans are unique, but we're also all humans. So we should respect each other, and that we should really just be spreading kindness wherever we go.
Chloe, any thoughts?
Yeah, I work with a lot of different organizations in Africa. One is Bridge Africa Connected. It's an organization that my Auntie Dawn works with. And they help, I help make sure that the kids are able to voice their ideas and voice the things that they want to do in the world. And that's something that I think is just so important as well, is finding those voices in different places, like Rafa said, that don't have access to reach them. But also just finding different organizations, like Rafa said, finding those organizations that are really out there helping them and showcasing them as well. So I feel as if it's just finding those organizations that are really out there and doing the good work and helping smaller communities be able to voice their big ideas.
Thank you all. I love that. And one last question. When you're out there doing all this good work, you're inevitably confronting a lot of hard things, right? You're confronting, Chloe, in your original inspiration, right? You're confronting houselessness and hunger and pain and That's true for all of you in the work that you do. And how do you take care of yourselves? What is your self-care practice and how you take care of your mental health? Let's go to you, Chloe, and talk a little bit about the rally that you held early in the pandemic.
Yeah, I held a mental health matters rally towards the beginning of the pandemic because I felt as if we were going through a lot during this pandemic, and I feel as if we didn't talk enough about our mental health and what it was and why it's important to make sure that you have good mental health going. And so I hosted it with Giving Tuesday, and we had a bunch of our Giving Tuesday Spark come on and talk about their mental health and ways that they keep up with it and make sure that they have a good and healthy mental health. And I think it was an important topic to speak about because I feel as if either people don't know what mental health is and they don't know how to properly keep it cared for, because it's something that needs to properly be cared for, and one of the main things that need to be cared for in part of yourself to keep yourself going. So it talked about different ways to keep yourself going, keeping yourself motivated, working yourself to keep your mental health up. And like I said, it was an important topic, and I feel as if I learned so much from our different sparks and just different things I didn't know, and I found new ways to do some kind of self-care work, whether it's just sitting down and doing art or drawing or painting and just letting out those emotions through your mental health, or if it's just sitting down and listening to music and letting the music feel through you and helping that with your mental health, or just sitting or giving back. I feel like so many people give back to really help with their mental health because that's the way that that's just how they work. And so I feel as if I learned, like I said, I learned a lot of new ways to help with my mental health.
I love it, Chloe. I have to tell you that rally was so good for my mental health. It was so amazing. And when I was any of your ages, that kind of thing would never have happened. There was no acknowledgement of it, no conversation about it. I just can't believe how transparent and open all of you were on that rally and continue to be. And it's true that giving and generosity are actually an anxiety coping mechanism. Shreya?
Yeah, in terms of what we do through Nest for Us, we actually, one of our programs, Nest Inspires, is a leadership program. We give free virtual workshops about a wide array of topics, and one of them is mental health and how you can take care of yourself, especially now during the pandemic. And so we've seen that people are able to just learn different self-care tips because, like Chloe was saying, everyone has different ways that they take care of themselves, and of course that is so important. So I just like that there's so many different options for people to take, and that diverse array allows them to pick and choose what fits with them, again, because everyone's unique. Everyone has their own kind of I guess what do you call it, little sphere that they're like interested in and that they want to really go to when they want to relax and de-stress and all that. And so for me, that sphere would be sports. I'm a big athlete. I love playing soccer. I do martial arts. Me and my sister, we dance, we do karaoke. We love spending time with family. We love cooking meals together, watching movies, board games, all of these different things. And of course, just like Chloe said, giving back, that's a huge part. I think that is a great way for people to get out in the community and not only make themselves feel good, but make other people feel good too. And so that's kind of that two-way street there. When you give back to other people, you feel good and you make them feel good too. And so, again, there's just so many different ways that people can take care of themselves and also simultaneously help someone else in need. And so, yeah.
I love it. I think it's such an incredibly important message that you can help other people and in fact make that your life's work, and that you can also do that while not self-sacrificing. How about you, Rafa?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Chloe said when she said that people don't realize how much of a big part our mental health is. And I realized that too in the pandemic. And I was locked in my house for so long, it felt, and just things like giving back, I think that betters the mental health of everybody, actually. When you're giving, it makes you feel good, and especially the people you're giving to, it makes them feel so good. And that's what I also try to emphasize in my organization, is the kids' mental health as well, and the mental side to sports, and the benefits that sports brings mentally as well to a person.
I love that you all say that giving back is part of self-care after so much giving back. It's great. All right, one last question for you guys because we're running out of time. This was so much fun. And I think Beth will mention this, but I want to just mention that that we're going to be at the networking lounge if anybody wants to chat with our Sparks directly. So last question, speed round is, what are your hopes for the coming year? Chloe, you go first.
My hopes for the coming year are to hopefully get back to traveling and speaking to everyone in person again, because that's one thing that I really do miss. Really getting back into really more, I guess, close in contact giving back. So like more of actually being able to pass out my bags and donating them. Or just being able to do my leadership workshops that are not like only on Zoom, and actually being able to go back to schools and talk to the kids and everything. Hopefully going back to Ghana and installing another water pump and bathroom facility out there. I really hope that's something that I'll be able to do this year. But really, that's really, I just really want to get back to my original work that I was able to do before the pandemic.
How about you, Rafa?
Yeah, like what Chloe said, this Zoom thing, it's just making me feel so trapped all the time. Honestly, I just want to get back to a human connection in my camps, especially because so far we've had mostly Zooms only. So to have that connection in person with all of the kids and just see what and just be able to experience that all in person is something I'm really looking forward to. And one thing that I really want is for the Oakland A's to win the World Series and the Nets to win the NBA championship.
Excellent. I hope all of that happens. Shreya?
Yeah, at the top of my list is definitely going on campus actually, because I'm about to finish my freshman year in college, and I haven't been on campus like taking classes and all of that. So super, super excited. I'm going to be taking a couple summer classes and then also going back to campus on the fall. So super excited for that. And then going out and doing a lot more in-person events. I really, really miss doing a lot of those big, large-scale service projects, getting a bunch of volunteers together. I mean, it was so fun before the pandemic. And of course, we've been able to adapt, have these smaller scale ones, social distance, mask, all of that. But of course, having a lot of people in one area coming together and packing so many care packages, sandwich bags, all of these things, it's a different feeling altogether. So I'm really, really excited for that. And going to speak at different schools, that's always fun to kind of hear what younger kids have to say. That's super fun as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Just like everyone said, the in-person human connection.
All right, well, that seems to be unanimous, and I add my wish for that in the coming year. And I especially can't wait to see the three of you and all of your fellow Spark leaders, and hopefully not in the distant future. Thank you so much for being with us for this. It was really lovely to see all of your faces and get to chat with you for a few minutes. And keep doing the good work that you're doing and taking good care of yourselves. Thank you all.
Thank
you, Beth.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asha, and Giving Tuesday Sparks. So now I know why they're called Sparks, because I am so sparked with inspiration and so many important messages that you shared, you know, about generosity as shared humanity, including the youth perspective and decision making, and of course, all the messages about self-care, which is so important. And I do want to remind everyone in the audience that a number of our speakers, including this panel and those coming up, will be in the networking lounge. So that's an opportunity for you to have some conversation. And obviously, as our Sparks pointed out, we all are looking forward to getting back to having these conversations face to face, but this is the next best thing. So with that, coming up next is our plenary panel, curation, collaboration, and coordination, developing a preparedness mindset for giving in a crisis and beyond. So stay tuned, it's coming up in just a few moments. Thank you.